All right, we're back. What's going on, boys? NASCAR goes back to Atlanta for the second time this year. Our weekly NASCAR Cup Series video over on the Run Pure Bets YouTube channel. As always, got my NASCAR partner in crime with me, Coop. What's going on, my friend?
Not much, man. Well, I'm doing well. I see you got a little new hat covering up your eyes.
Yeah. I can't wear it backwards because it's not a fitted hat, and I don't fuck with the backwards hat if it's not fitted. I got to wear it forward.
You don't want to be a trucker or something, man?
So, Coop, I had a bad day yesterday in NASCAR. I was not on my A game yesterday, to say the least. First of all, shout out to our guy Coop. He gets Austin Hill home yesterday in the Xfinity race at 8-1. Picks up a nice winner there. Keg did not cash a ticket in NASCAR yesterday. He had the winner in the first race and didn't bet it. And then he bet a car in the second race and lost. So, needless to say, a little disappointing effort from your guy, Keg Coop, in NASCAR this weekend. But we did pick up about 10 units in UFC last night. So that got
to sleep, man. If Zane could have just pulled it off a little bit, man. He was racing smart, man.
Parker.
Big picture.
Parker just put me in a tombstone early on Saturday.
I don't think it was Parker.
It was. You know what? I blame
Gavin.
I blame Gavin and Diego for sure. Now that I think about it, you're right.
Nah, not Diego, man. You can't. Diego's too nice, man. He's quiet and just the silent assassin, man.
But it was a good day in the UFC, and now we turn our attention to the Cup race at Atlanta. On most restrictor plate tracks that me and you bet, we fire a lot more on these type of tracks like Talladega, Daytona, now Atlanta. Poconos, they used to play package, right?
No. These three. Yeah.
Okay. So, but we fire more, right? So I fired a lot. It helps that it's been a really good 2 months, but I fired a lot. So we'll get into the race. So
you don't want to go back and talk about the Parker Kligerman story?
Coop, it's like, first of all, Coop, that night hasn't ended for me yet. I haven't slept. So, I'm still reliving it. There was no sleep break to get over it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Atlanta, bit of a new.
I guess that's a no.
No, I don't know. Yeah. So all right, Coop. So here's what happened yesterday. 2 laps into the race, I said, Parker Kligerman's got the nuts. He's 8-1. I'm betting him. I said, the only car that so far from what I've seen, if Zane Smith can drive up, I said, then Coop's going to cash that ticket on Zane. I said, if not, this kid's truck is the nuts. I said, I'm betting him. And they're like, you're betting Parker Kligerman two laps into the race? And then I went, no, I'm not. I'm gonna wait. And then 45 seconds later, he went from 8-1 to 2-1. And I was dead. I was a dead duck.
5 laps into the race, he's at 200 plus 200. That's crazy.
Yeah. So I made the mistake of not taking him when I know I should have. But that's all right. To be honest, I don't even think he had the best truck in the race. I think Zane's, I don't know why he couldn't get by him, but I definitely think the truck was better.
I mean, Zane, he was racing big picture because, John Hunter Nemechek struggled. and I forget who was third in points, but he struggled too. And I mean, he had a huge point advantage, and there was no, advantage for him to really push it. I mean, he tried, but like he wasn't going to bump him or anything. He just needed to be clean, and he couldn't get that clean pass because, I mean, the two of them, Parker and Zane, are pretty solid friends from what I understand. And then the other piece too is like, Parker doesn't want Zane doesn't want that attention drawn on to him, but, spinning Parker at the end just to win. Parker's, it was a big win, for Parker. He's well respected, well liked by a lot of people, and it would have been a big negative for Zane. So, yeah, it sucks. I would have liked to see him win, but, I get what Zane was doing. I mean, I think Zane's going to be in the Xfinity Series next year. He's doing a great job.
I don't disagree. And we were rooting hard for Zane Smith at the end. A, because I screwed up by not betting. B, because you had a bet on Zane, so we were rooting you in. And C, I have him to win the Truck Series from earlier this year at like 4.5 to 1. So I would like to see him like win the chip. I know he's been close the last couple of years and hasn't been able to get there. But I mean, we'll see what happens. Xfinity was, a fun race to watch, I guess. I enjoyed it. I didn't win, but I mean, I enjoyed it. So
why did you pick Ty Gibbs? What was your thought process behind that?
You know why? Because on a normal, I know that this is a hybrid track, right? I understand that like now with the repave and they're using that plate package at Atlanta also. So I figured, man, I know that this isn't a normal 1.5-mile track anymore like it used to be back in the day, but you rarely see him at 7.5 to 1 in an Xfinity race on a 1.5-mile track. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna shoot my shot and take it, because normally we see him at like 4 or 5 to 1. But I mean, it does race a lot more now like a small little super speedway than it used to in years past, right? So when did they repave the track? Last year?
Yeah, October, November, December.
Right. Okay. So they repaved the track last year, and now the next gen cars are using this package, right? And we saw a lot of Chevy speed in that race earlier this year. I mean, 3 of the top 6 cars were Hendrick cars that flash speed. And then it was like Chastain, another Chevy. Stenhouse is in a Chevy, right? He was, yes. And then like you had Ryan Blaney, who I think is going to definitely be a factor today if he could stay clean. But like when watching, because I went back and I watched that race on Thursday afternoon. Nobody looked awful. Like, I mean, I don't really think that Toyota looked as good as Chevy and Ford did. But were they awful?
Well,
No.
it's hard to rank Toyota because, I mean, Denny was up there. He got into an accident. Kyle Busch was up there, had an accident.
Right.
Kurt Busch even got up there. Wasn't an accident. Chris Bell stayed up there the whole time, basically, other than when he had pit issues. Bubba was up there at the end, and then Marty is just Marty. He's 3.5 quarters back into the grave, so.
Yeah, Marty. I don't know if you know this, but Marty's son Ryan races in the Xfinity Series, according to Gavin.
I thought it was his dad, man.
Yeah, no, yeah. Marty's son Ryan is.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, man.
Yeah.
Never would have.
Well, that's the kind of knowledge that you get from Gavin. You know what I mean? That's the kind of knowledge that you get. So, all right. So Hendrick, I mean, I thought that Chevy and Ford, they probably looked a little better, but like you said, you don't really know because they wrecked out, and there were Toyotas up towards the front in that race.
Mm-hmm.
So overall,
I mean, there were 46 lead changes, 20 different drivers. So
yeah,
it's crazy.
You expect the same today?
I do. I know that there were people in the Twitter universe yesterday talking about how boring the race was, and they don't know how to play today because they kind of expect what could happen again yesterday happens again today. Like, I don't know. I dug a little deeper into it. So in the Xfinity race in the spring, they had 10 different leaders. All right. Yesterday they had 7 different leaders. All right. But in the spring, all right, of those 10 leaders, all right, 5 of those leaders led 6 laps or less. Yesterday, 5 of the 7 led 13 or more. And then I think, the other 2 were like 8 or 9, something like that.
Right.
There were 12 lead changes in the spring. Yesterday, there were 17 lead changes. And, I think it's just a matter, the race was the same as what it was in the spring. It just didn't play out the same. In the spring, it was long run, leader at the front, taking it and, doing what Austin Hill did at the end. They were just upset because nobody tried to pass Austin Hill at the end, or that whole stage, basically.
Yeah.
So they remember what they saw last. And, I don't think today's race is going to be anything like yesterday's race because, one, when have we seen on a 1.5-mile track any of these cars get out to the leads like what we saw yesterday? We haven't. These cars are completely different than what was in Xfinity yesterday and NASCAR last year. They're going to, designed to stay much closer, so that's what's going to happen. And then the other piece that nobody was really talking about, who said it was a bad race and this is what we're going to expect, tomorrow, was those cars were struggling to handle yesterday. All right. And if the Xfinity cars were struggling to handle, these Cup cars are going to be even worse because they're that much harder to drive. So, I don't think it's going to be as hot, but it's still going to be slick, so I expect handling to be, much bigger issue today than yesterday and then what we saw in the spring. So, I expect a lot of cautions.
Yeah. So do you think that like Talladega and Daytona, a huge part of you and I cashing a ticket in this race is going to be keeping our drivers clean?
Oh, definitely. I mean,
yeah.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an air race.
Yeah, but I mean, they're so close together on plate tracks.
Yep.
But yeah. So I basically thought the same. Okay, so now I was doing qualifying didn't happen, right? Because it got rained out.
Right. But exactly.
But what about practice? There were no practice numbers either.
No, they didn't even have a scheduled practice.
Right. Okay. So basically, we're flying blind.
We never come off the truck well. I mean, that's going to be the other piece. Like, I can guarantee you, somebody's going to pull onto the track. They're going to make a lap, and they're going to have an issue. I mean, we saw it yesterday with Austin Hill and his radio.
Right.
And it's going to happen again today.
Right.
Who knows what it could be? It could be a loose wheel. It could be a loose spark plug. I mean, who knows?
Right.
So, but something stupid will happen at the beginning of the race because, they can, do all the checks and balances that they want, but, they're human and shit happens. And, I would imagine, like I said, within that first lap, somebody has some type of issue because they haven't been able to get on the track to check the cars.
Right. So Viral asks, why are the odds so high for this race? 10-1's the cheapest winner. Usually it's plus 350. And that's because that's the whole reason why we tend to take more shots on these types of races, because the odds are better, a lot better than they normally are. And it gives you greater flexibility pre-race to get more invested than ordinarily. Maybe we only have 1 or 2 outright winners going into the race. I have like 6, although two of them really don't count because they're like quarter units. I really only have like 4, but I mean, I have a couple like big, like 66 to 1, 50 to 1.
You have never had 6 drivers on
Never.
your sheet before any race, whether it's Daytona or Talladega, or anything. Never.
No, I went back because I wanted to check what I had at Daytona, and it was like 4 and like 1 top 10. Today I got a couple top 10s. Today I got a couple top 10s on there, and I got 6 drivers. I think if they stay clean, they're going to be there at the end.
So why are you attacking this slate different from that perspective than what you've done in the prior?
Well, I mean, I don't really think I am though, because like at the last Daytona race, I was on 4 outrights going into the race. We were on 4. So this time I'm on 6, but am I really when 2 of them are a quarter unit? I mean, it's very low risk. I only bet a unit on 4 guys, so which we'll get to. So
you bet a unit on each of them, right?
On the 4 guys, yeah. And then
Okay.
Yeah, right, exactly. And then one, and I'm probably not even done yet because I'm not gonna let you hit the fucking Ricky Stenhouse ticket and just not cash it at 50 to 1. So I mean, like, there's no chance of you winning that bet without me fucking making money. So I'll probably have a little bit on that. But you know what, Coop? You have flexibility when all you do is crush. There are units to play with. You know what I mean? So we're gonna make some money.
Speaking of flexibility, hopefully you can get some flexibility into that stiff hat you got on.
You know what, bro? I mean, I am just a literal punching bag for my friends lately. Between you and Gavin and Diego, I just get destroyed. All right, so let's talk about the race. I ended up betting 3 of the 4 guys that I told you that I was going to, and the 4th guy was a Hendrick guy, but it wasn't Bowman. It ended up being Elliott because I think he's going to be really.
Hold on. I saw that this morning, and the first thing that came to my mind is that must be Gavin's buddy's pick to win the race, and that's why you're in on it. He finally got you the information because that just seemed really odd to me that you would bet Chase.
Yeah, you know why? I'll tell you why. Because I didn't sleep, and I'm at my computer at 7:30 in the morning, and I'm going through all the speed charts. And I'm like, man, nobody's talking about him, but he's had underrated speed with this package for sure. And he's 10 to 1. I think that he's got a shot to be there late. Now, I do think that Bowman at 25 to 1 is going to be like, I think a lot of those Hendrick cars are going to be live. Obviously, we both love Willie B. So looking at these odds right now, we have Chastain 10 to 1 right now, Elliott 10 to 1 right now, Blaney 10 to 1 right now. Those are I guess technically your 3 favorites at 10 to 1. And then from there on back, it's like Willie B 12 to 1 and back, right? So did you bet any of these first 4 guys? Because I took them all.
No. I told you, I do a show on Thursday night on Twitter Spaces with free NASCAR DFS. And, I mentioned on that show that, I had interest in Chastain because I could get him at 12 to 1. I had interest in Byron because I could get him at 12 to 1. And Blaney was the one I was hoping, who I had interest in, who could move a little bit more, but, it never did at 10 to 1. But no, I did not bet any of them. I don't have any issues with betting any of them, and I very well could bet them. For me, it's about being disciplined today. We don't know what the weather is going to be like. And, I don't want to put a bunch of money into this race. And then it doesn't race today, and then I can't do anything about it tomorrow because I'm not able to watch the race. And, if I get into them, because look, one of the reasons you feel confident putting all this down is you feel that, at the end of the race, you can get somebody or two drivers, and you can hedge off and you can cover your, losses and call it a break-even day, or maybe just lose a minimal amount or gain a minimal amount.
Right.
And I can't do that because I can't take those chances, right now. So to me, it really depends upon the weather as far as what I'm going to do.
Okay. Take that. Yeah, no, I understand that point of view. I get it. I guess I kind of went the other way, right? But like you,
right?
like,
But if I knew I could watch the race tomorrow, I
right,
would be there with you, and I
right.
might be there with you. It all depends upon what the weather.
Yeah, like first of all, who the fuck are you kidding, bro? If I know you, I'll get a message at 11 o'clock in the morning. Well, called out of work. We doing the show? You're so full of shit. You're so full because it's happened like 3 times already. You'll be there tomorrow with bells on. So you might as well start slinging bets. You might as well start slinging them. All right. So in that 10-1, in that 10-1 to 20-1 range, let's stay there right now. 10-1 to 20-1, right? Obviously, you know where I'm at, and I know where you're at. You agree with me. You think that Chastain and Blaney and Byron, we were able to get Chastain at 12-1. He's at DK now at 10-1. But I mean, Chastain, Blaney, and Byron, you like, right? So, are you not a fan of Elliott today?
I am not. Chase hasn't done that great on the mile and a half this year. He hasn't had as much speed as what we.
But here's my question. My question for you is: now that this track is such a weird track and a true hybrid, right? Are you grading more towards like cookie cutter mile and a halves or more towards super speedways? The package means you almost have to go the speedway route, right?
I think it's a little bit of both. You're not going to see a driver, in the last 5 laps come from 10th to win the race. You got to be in those first 2 rows. Whereas at Daytona or Talladega, they have the space, on that track to be able to go 3 wide comfortably. And you can make up, a lot of positions in a relatively quick amount of time. So, that's one piece, that I think is much different. And then, the other piece, I think, that is different from this than the other mile and a halves, I think, is the handling piece. You want good handling in every race you possibly can. But I'm going to really focus on, who has a very good handling car at the beginning of the race. Like I did that yesterday with Austin Hill. He was able to go to the top. He was able to go to the bottom. He was able to, go from, the 8th, 9th place up to the top. He was able to, drop out of that and then come back up. And that's what I'm looking for is handling, If somebody gets squirrely early, especially if they don't have anybody around them, I'm going to put that in the back of my head, because usually we're looking at speed, and, they all have speed this week for the most part. So to me, it's really about looking at the handling, and I want to see who has really good handling cars at the beginning of the race.
All right. So past the 4 that I'm on, the first 4, I stayed away from Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, Tyler Reddick, Joey Logano, Daniel Suarez, Bubba. Obviously, we know he's very good on these type of tracks, but man, 15-1 is like, I don't think I could bet that on general principle. That's low, man. But if he looks good in the race, things change. And then,
for me, the next best two I would like after what you've placed would be Denny Hamlin and Bubba Wallace.
Denny Hamlin, obviously a monster on plate tracks. Bubba, very good on plate tracks. Right. Okay, that makes sense. What do you think about Penske today? Besides Ryan Blaney, Joey's a very good plate driver, right? What do you think about him today?
I think he'll be good if he gets up front. He's very good at blocking if that comes into play. He's one of the best out there. But what I've said about Joey, last year in the old car and it's continued on to this year in this car is he's not very good when he's in the back, 15th on back. He doesn't race very good in dirty air whatsoever. He struggles. So I think the key for him, and it's for anybody, is to get up front. And if he gets there, he's going to be, he was another driver who was fairly strong at the beginning of the Atlanta race in the spring, but had issues.
Right.
The bottom line is we can make positives and negatives for every single one of these drivers.
Marty's 20-1, Chris Bell's 20-1. Chris Bell actually ran very, very well at Atlanta. He was really fast at Atlanta, but he didn't finish well. He finished 23rd, but was he one of the Toyotas that wrecked out?
No, he that was the race where he was at the front and he drove below the red, yellow line.
That's right.
Or you want to call it?
Yep. So there, all right, 25-1 on back. You have Kevin Harvick, Kurt Busch, Chase Briscoe, Alex Bowman. They're all at 25-1. So I said to you, I thought that there was some value on Bowman at 25-1. I thought that was a little high. And Kurt Busch at 25-1. I don't really know how I feel about him. I like him. Two drivers that I wanted to ask you about DFS wise today because I wanted to put them in my lineup. I know that me and you always build that lineup together. Was Kurt Busch and Corey LaJoie. Do you like them in DFS today?
Oh yeah, I like him. I like Kurt Busch a lot because I think Kurt Busch is going to be low round because of where he's starting. And he did a tire test here, and he was running well in the spring until he had issues. And he's kind of fond of Atlanta in general because on the old track he was really damn good. So completely new track, but he's just fond of Atlanta.
In this 25-1 range, Harvick, Busch, Briscoe, Bowman, would you lean Busch and Bowman over Harvick and Briscoe?
Most definitely.
Yeah. Okay. So,
but I would lean Busch over Bowman because I want to see. Alex hasn't had much speed here recently, man. He's done a good job of keeping his car clean and finishing in the high single digit to low teen numbers, but he hasn't had very good speed. So I want to watch him first.
Chris Buescher 30-1, Austin Dillon 30-1, Cindric 30-1, Almirola 30-1. Okay, we both love Chris Buescher. He's a very underrated plate driver. What do you think about his chances today at 30-1?
I think a lot of carnage is going to happen for any of them drivers to win.
Say that one more time. You think what?
They need a lot of carnage, a lot of luck, a lot of, other drivers to fall out before they win.
Yeah, he's 50-1 at Bet365 for anybody that wants a better number.
Like all these drivers, that you just mentioned, Buescher, Dillon, Almirola, Cindric, them, and then every other one down, there's only one driver I think who can win without a lot of luck and carnage.
There's only one driver you think. Oh, Ricky?
Yep.
You don't think Eric Jones could win?
No. I mean, I think he'll be a top 5 car if everything works right, but Like, I don't think he has the top line speed.
He's so good on these tracks, though.
Oh yeah. I mean, you know, again, it's different in Talladega and here. You know, you're sure it's the same package and everything, but you know, the raw speed you need a lot more here than what you do at Talladega and Atlanta, because you can have a lot more, you know, pushing and a lot more drafting. You have a lot more space. You can do a lot more there. Here, you got to have handling and power.
So, of the cars, 30-1 back, you took a shot on Ricky Stenhouse. Now, what number did you get?
I got 40. I mean, you can get him at 50, I think.
Yeah, you can get 35-1 at DK. If you have Bet365, you could still get him at 50-1, but he's basically in that 35-1-ish range almost everywhere now. So I'm probably going to tail Coop on that. And I threw some money on Michael McDowell at 66-1 and Eric Jones at 50-1 because they're very.
I get those. I don't blame them. Don't have an issue with them. But, man, Ricky Stenhouse doesn't get the credit he deserves, you know, for what he does on this type of racing, because he's always done it in inferior, you know, packages, cars, whatever, equipment. But he's always consistently there. And, you know, everybody, you know, gives him a bad rap because of the wrecks. Well, the majority of the wrecks aren't his fault. You know, he just happens to be in them. Sure, he's had some that he's created, but, you know, much more that he's just been a victim of. But
he caught a bad break in March going into stage 3.
In this race in March, you know, he was going to probably win stage 2, and then his tire blew. But, I mean, he was one of those cars that could go to the top, to the bottom. He could push. He could be pushed. You know, he was able to do whatever he wanted to do. And, you know, he just had bad luck. And, you know, I expect the same, again, from him today.
Hopefully not.
Hendrick Motorsports power, man.
Hopefully not the bad luck, though.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that, like, if he was in, like, a Hendrick car or a Gibbs car, like, he would have a bunch of plate race wins. He would be, I think he would be right there with Dale Earnhardt and Dale Earnhardt Jr.
All right, that's a 30-second timeout. I mean, did he just say Ricky Stenhouse and Dale Earnhardt in the same sentence? I don't give Coop 10-second timeouts. That's a timeout. Okay? Can we get real? Dale Earnhardt, man?
Yeah, that's how good Ricky is at this, man. If he was in that equipment, he would be right there with him. He doesn't even get it. You know, and the thing is, like, I'll continue to bet him every freaking time on this. I don't care what his odds are, because no matter what, they're going to be, you know, they're not going to be the 60 to 70, 80 that they were last year, obviously. You know, they're going to be more in the 40 to 50 range. But every single time, I only need him to win once to pay it off.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Listen, I don't disagree. I don't disagree with you. We've been on Ricky more than once this year. So I mean, like, I don't disagree with you. The Dale Earnhardt comment is a little extreme for you. I mean, even for you. All right,
He's
top
very
three,
good on this package, man.
Top 3s and top 5s. I assume you touched nothing, correct?
Correct.
Top 10s. I bet Ricky Stenhouse plus 175 and Eric Jones plus 160. What do you think about those?
I'm on Stenhouse, but again, like, depending upon the book, there's some good top 10 numbers this week. But if you really look at how the Daytona, Talladega, and Atlanta races have played out, you know, only 1 to 2 of them drivers have finished in the top 10 when it's all said and done this year.
Right.
So, like, I don't want to get too heavily involved, and that's why I just stick with Ricky. And I mean, if Ricky gets the top 10 and doesn't win, then I get my money back from that bet.
Sure, for sure. So those were you. So you took Stenhouse, I took Stenhouse and Jones. Aside from that, I didn't really see anything that I liked there. I mean, listen, if it all fell right for Corey LaJoie, could he get there at 4-1? Probably, yeah.
Sure. Yeah,
but
and I mean, we didn't mention. I took early in the week. I bet 2 racers for numbers basically. And that was Justin Haley. I got it 100-1 on DK. And his odds drastically have dropped now. And then took Noah Gregson at 250-1. So I mean, they're just pure basic, numbers. Not that I think they're gonna great.
Corey LaJoie is 500-1. Coop. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I mean that's another number I wouldn't mind betting, but again, I don't want to get too involved with it because it would take a lot for Corey LaJoie to win.
Yeah, that I agree with totally. Constructor, manufacturer, winning manufacturer, Chevy's even money, Ford plus 225, Toyota plus 275. I didn't bet this, didn't really have any interest in that at all. I assume you didn't either. Did you bet any top Chevy, top Ford, top Toyota this week?
No, I did not, but there's one that I would consider, or did consider. Like top Chevy, I mean, there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 drivers if you include Justin Haley, 10 if you don't. That could be the top Chevy, And then for Ford, there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10 if you count Cole Custer. So, you're getting much better numbers than what we typically do. And you could go in and you could bet, 3 or 4 or 5 if you wanted to. But there's just so many that are available. Like, I think the area to attack it would be in Toyota if you want to do it. Because on MGM, they have Kyle Busch, Bubba Wallace, and Denny Hamlin as, the 3 favorites. But then they have Truex, Chris Bell, and Kurt Busch that you can get at 600 or 700, and I would take the latter 3 against the first 3 and hope, that luck is on my side. That way you're only betting against 3 drivers, versus like if you get it with Ford and you get with Chevy, there's a lot more, that can happen. I'm not going to bet it, but, it's something that, is interesting.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. That logic is sound. I didn't bet any of them either. But if you were going to attack one, it would make sense to attack Toyota, definitely. Did you bet any matchups?
No, man. There was 108 matchups on DK, man.
Imagine.
No matchups, man.
Imagine 108 matchups on DK.
I hope they come back and do it at a regular race.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Would interest me.
Don't hold your breath, Coop. What about groups? Anything in the groups?
Hold on. I didn't even really look at the groups on DK. Let me look real quick. No, they're all under 300.
And they're all like, how do you figure it? They're all like, look at that. I bet everybody in Group A. I mean, how are you going to figure that out? Right. How do you figure that part? I mean, like, forget it. Yeah, I agree, and they're all low too.
Right.
Yeah, I really think that the only market that you could really attack on this race is like a couple top 10s and shooting your shot in the outright market. I just don't see it this week anywhere else.
Right. Hey, there were a couple in the weekly specials that I have questions about.
Yeah.
So it says any manufacturer to finish first, second, and third plus 550. I mean, that could happen.
I think that if it does happen, it's going to be Chevy.
Yeah. But
I
I
don't
mean,
think
it could.
else. It could happen though. Yeah. I mean, Chevy, they could run 1 through 6.
Right. I mean, think about it. If Toyota struggles and, you know, they lose, you know, 3 or 4 drivers, you know, then you're just down to Chevy and Ford, basically, hopefully, you know,
Yep.
from an odds perspective. So, you know, that doesn't bother me. And then, hold on, I think there was another one. Hold on. Maybe they got rid of it. Different manufacturer wins stage 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and the race. So basically, what they're saying is like Ford wins 1, Toyota wins 1, and Chevy wins 1, right?
Yeah. Do you know what the true odds would have to be for that to happen?
Probably much higher than the plus 330 they're giving you.
Yeah. I don't think I would bet that at 15-1.
Gotcha.
That's going to be hard to do. I like the first one though, because I think Toyota can romp. I mean, Chevy could romp today.
Well, I mean, they have on here, all right. So Chevy to finish 1 and 2 is plus 300. Ford to finish 1 and 2 is plus 800, and Toyota is plus 1,000.
Chevy to finish 1, 2 is what?
300.
I'm betting that. I'm betting that right now. I like that bet. We've been doing really good too with our pre-race looks on these shows. We've been crushing.
I haven't seen any stage 1 props. Have you?
No, not yet. Oh, maybe on Bet365. Let me check real quick. Yeah, stage 1 winner at Bet365. Chastain, Elliott, and Larson are 8-1. Blaney, Byron, and Reddick are 9, 12, and 12. Suarez and Truex are 14. Bowman and Busch, Cindric, and Hamlin are 16.
Like, I would just bet them to win the race. Those numbers aren't very good.
Yeah. So I like that bet. I'm gonna bet that Chevy to finish 1, 2 plus 300. What do you think about? I know that it's hard because of the attrition that you're probably going to have to get through to get there. But Chase Elliott and Ryan Blaney to finish in the top 5 is 8-1. I don't think that's bad.
Not bad. I mean, again, you know,
it could,
Michael McDowell and Eric Jones could be, you know, in the top 5.
Yeah, it could easily not. It could easily not happen too. But I mean, it could happen for sure if they can get.
I'd much rather take my chances at like the Chevy to finish 1, 2 than 2 drivers to finish in the top 5 because there's like 14 or 15 Chevys, 13.
Oh
Chevys.
yeah,
So,
I don't disagree.
And I think when you go back and look at it, Chevy's probably the right one because, I mean, other than Josh Bilicki, I mean, there's a path for Ty Dillon to finish in the top 2 and Corey LaJoy too. Same with Noah Gragson, Justin Haley. So, I mean, they're all legit other than Bilicki.
They're willing to pay out 15-1 for Hendrick Motorsports to finish in the top 10.
I don't even think Bilicki's in the damn race. I think Castle's running in that ride. But
yeah.
Whatever.
I don't really see anything else. Will Byron and Chastain, the top 5 at 9-1 or 10-1. Again, I think it could happen, but it could easily not happen.
Right.
Aside from that,
radar for the race today.
What?
Pay attention to the radar.
Well, not your radar. Definitely not your radar. We'll have somebody else working radar. I think it's going to be me, you, Diego, and Tyler probably hanging out.
So what do you think about Bubba Wallace to be the top Toyota and Chase Elliott to be the top Chevy?
I think that a lot like the top 5, a lot has to go right for that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
What are the odds?
Just 25.
25 to 1?
Yeah.
I mean, that's definitely a way better price, but man, it definitely has to go right for you.
Right, but I mean, like, I think I would rather take my shot at Chris Bell being the top Toyota, Ryan Blaney being the top Ford, and William Byron being the top Chevy.
What are those odds?
150.
Say that one more time.
Bell, top Toyota, Blaney, Ford, and Byron, Chevy.
I mean, I think that 2 out of 3 of those are the favorite probably to happen in their respected group. And then listen, I mean, Chris Bell was what, 3rd in speed at Atlanta?
Yeah, he was good.
It could definitely happen for sure. 150 to 1. What website is that on?
MGM. I mean, I like that better because I like that better than the Byron and I'm not Byron, whatever I said before, Elliott and Wallace. But like they have one on here, like Kurt Busch to be the top Toyota, Suarez to be the top Chevy. Like, sure, it could happen, but you only get 80 to 1. Reddick to be the top Chevy, Harvick to be the top Ford, 66. Truex to be the top Toyota, Keselowski to be the top Ford, 66.
Yeah.
I think the one that has 3, even though you have to hit another manufacturer right, like the number you're getting on it is really good for something that, could much more realistically happen than those pairs of 2s.
My favorite of them all, though, is that 3 to 1.
Right.
But I do like the Byron, Blaney, and who was it? Chris Bell. That I like at 150 to 1. That might be like worth throwing like a pizza on. I might throw like a little pizza money on that just to fuck around and have something to root for. All right, but yeah, I mean, aside from that, Coop's on Stenhouse. He might take a couple of the guys that he likes that I was on also. So I took Byron, Chastain, Blaney, and Elliott, and then I will probably throw a little bit of money on Stenhouse at 50 to 1 to tail Coop, and then I took a couple small shots at 66 to 1, 50 to 1 myself.
I mean, currently my radar looks pretty good till about 5:30.
5:30.
Yeah, that's my radar. It's really trusty.
Yeah, your radar is just like people in the Stone Age could accurately portray a weather forecast better than you and your radar. So, all right, JJ's up next on this channel with I think Joey and JJ's dad, the GOAT.
He's wearing his clothes backwards today, isn't he?
Who?
JJ. Trying to turn his luck around.
Is he?
That's what I thought.
Why? Is he? He's on a cooler?
You know how JJ is, man.
Yeah, he's probably if you
follow JJ, you think he's on a cooler 95% of the time.
If he's on a cooler, I fully expect the clown wig out today, the red nose. But yeah, 12 o'clock, you guys could catch JJ, the Facts Man, and Joey Work. right here, breaking down the entire MLB slate. And then at 1 o'clock over on the Run Pure Sports YouTube, it'll be me, Coop, and JJ breaking down the NASCAR race, doing a little bit of betting, and Coop will be breaking it down DFS-wise for the majority of the show. So I hope you guys crush today. You guys know the bets that we are on. And aside from that, today at 3 o'clock, the live betting show is free. Go to the Run Pure Bets YouTube channel, and you guys can watch it. It's a free show. There, we will be getting on drivers live if we have to, or we will be rooting in our guys who are already on and hopefully cashing a ticket. So aside from that, we will see you guys on the Run Pure Sports YouTube channel at 1 p.m. Good luck and God bless, boys. Let your action run pure. Later.